Hey guys, this is George over at Hypno Comics in Ventura, California, hanging out with Ivan Van Norman, also known as the Dragon.
Yeah.
Let me start right there. Why the Dragon?
You know what? It's funny because when TBS first picked it up, they did all these camera interviews with us where they're just like, okay, tell us about yourself,
right.
you know? And a lot of us, they hadn't even really been decided if they were going to pick us yet. So, of course, one of the things the interviewers always wanted to ask me about, because in my audition video, I had like dragon tables and like a dragon coffee table, and I talked about like my dragon tattoos.
Right.
And they're like, so what is it about dragons? So, and of course I gave my spiel. It's like, I think they're majestic, amazing animals. They represent everything that we love about what we want to be. Like, they're intelligent, they're powerful, they're creative, they're wise.
They like gold.
They like gold and they breathe fire.
Right.
Like, there is nothing cooler, you know, fictional or non-fictional, that's a dragon.
Sure.
And I was like, and that's what I described to them. So, of course, what do they do when all the advertisements come out? They're like, hey, here's Ivan, he's the dragon guy.
Nice.
You know, which is just fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
And
yes.
and I don't mind. So, yeah, so ever then, it's like everyone has been identifying me as the dragon, which is perfect because I do identify.
Yeah.
Absolutely with that.
Well, and now after the show, looking at some of the social media, you know, because I follow you.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy way.
It's that social media is creepy. Let's just put it out there, just in general.
But you have your dragon minions. You got your dragon,
my dragon
followers.
warriors.
Yeah, your dragon warriors. There. That's the phrase. Okay,
That's
so
fun, you know, and I think it's a badass thing. I would love, like, if you think about all the wonderful literature out there. At one point, it's like the Dragon Riders of Pern are probably. I would kill to be one of them. Like, to go out into battle riding a dragon, nothing cooler in the planet.
My wife's a big fan of that.
Screw horses.
Yeah.
You know, screw even riding elephants.
Yeah.
You know, it's like riding a fire-breathing elephant through the air. You know, I can rip stuff apart.
So, so you've read all the Dragon Riders of Pern stuff?
Yeah, I like McCaffrey a lot.
You like what about the Dragonlance Chronicles? You down?
I've read. I'm starting to catch up on them.
Yeah?
Like, the thing is, like, I was obviously doing D&D before Dragonlance, but some of them, they're so well written.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I like it when it's written by Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman. Those are the ones that I really
like
enjoy.
the original run. And actually, that's what kept TSR alive.
Yeah,
for
totally.
so long.
Yeah.
Like, in between, I think it was like in between first edition and AD&D, it was like the Dragonlance series is what kept their book publishers up for forever.
Good stuff. You know, they should make a movie out of that someday. But,
speaking of that,
yeah, right.
you heard about they're doing the new movie, right?
Yeah. Well, the animated one.
No,
they're doing live action.
They're doing another live action.
Ooh, breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. Breaking news that's a couple months old.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
No, it's true though. A lot of people are talking about it, and they're like,
well,
because it has some of the original people from the other films on it.
The first D&D movie sucked.
Yeah, so did the second one.
Even Jeremy Irons couldn't save that.
I know, but I love Jeremy Irons, and Richard O'Brien was in it. He was the King of Thieves.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reason I watched it, because I was a Rocky kid growing up.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of Rocky horror. So.
All right.
Actually, I don't think I've said that on camera yet for anyone yet. So that's fun.
So, well, let's talk about your time that you spent on. I'm going to move over here out of the sun.
Yeah.
By
the way, awesome shop. I have to tell you, like, it's the big thing about like comic book stores, especially nowadays, is like inviting, friendly, bright, and clean.
It has to be.
Clean is so important, and it's like I almost look at that as like the first thing I come into a comic book store. Is like, one, is it well kept?
Yeah.
You know. Two, does it actually have stock? And three, what's the cool shit that they have inside of it?
Right.
You feel all three.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I work hard at it.
Yeah.
You know, and the stigma of old, dark, cluttered,
dungeony.
Okay, let's just put the guy from the comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Yep.
Right here. That's it. That's done. That's done, people.
Old times. And it's funny because they always say, and I've met a lot of stores, but there are still lots of people who own comic book stores, not because they want to be businessmen, but just because they love comics.
Sure.
And they haven't learned how to make a business out of it yet.
Yeah.
So it's so vital. You can employ people like a comic book guy because they know what they're doing, but you can't run a comic book store.
You can't run it. No,
like
not that way. I mean, it's a business. It's a fun business.
Yeah.
It's my hobby, but it's also my livelihood.
Yep.
So
there you go.
know, yeah, but thank you. I appreciate the
And
compliment.
this is a good way of doing it.
Yeah. Thanks.
So you were saying?
I want to talk about the whole King of Nerds thing. We watched it at our house.
Yeah.
We were rooting for you,
Appreciate
especially after the whole cosplay. It was brilliant. Can we say the F word on here? It's fucking brilliant. Loved it.
Well, I felt it was so awesome that we got cosplay so early.
Yeah.
Because we had the big teams.
Yeah.
And we had all these ideas. And I'll tell you, by the time we hit that downstairs war room, I already had 3 ideas of like core storyline things that we could do. And I presented them to the team. I was like, okay, we could do this, this, or this. What do you guys think? Without shoving it down their throat. And it still was.
What's up, Nick?
How's it going?
Come on in. You can go out there, go check out Zombie Outbreak in the back.
Yeah, we're doing a demo.
Say hi to Ivan, Nick.
Hey, Nick. Nice to meet you.
I tried to call you and see if you wanted a burrito.
I appreciate that. See the love I get from my customers here.
Make sure they give you a burrito then, right? So good. So anyway, as we were saying, we spent it was so good that we had that huge team at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got downstairs, I had 3 separate ideas to pitch to them, and I wanted us all to agree on it, because the last thing that you want is someone to be like, no, this idea sucks, like, I want it, and then it becomes a huge issue everywhere. Done enough collaborative things to know that everyone should be on board from day one.
Yeah.
So, even though we only had 2 days to do it.
Really? You guys only had 2 days to get all that
24
together?
hours.
Wow, that's awesome work.
24 hours. Yeah.
Good.
And we were up late, but we weren't up as late as the blue team.
Yeah.
After I presented these 3 ideas, they all just latched onto immediately the like elder god with like a cult.
Yeah.
You know, and it was interesting because we just did the stilts and we came upstairs and like those were my stilts, by the way. Those weren't provided for us. I actually owned
You just
those.
carry stilts around?
Well, they said bring your stuff.
Fair enough.
So I brought my stilts. Why not? Right? Because it's fun.
You never know when you're going to need stilts for some cosplay.
Especially bouncy stilts.
Yeah.
You know? And and those showers were stained for the rest of the show. Yeah, it took like 3 sessions to get all that red paint off.
Off you?
And I still looked like I got sunburnt after I got it all off.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. I'm sure, what was your, was that your favorite competition on the show?
I would say that, and then my competition with Joshua.
Yeah.
It was like, that was so epic. Just the very, very like, oh wow, it's really, because we joked about going against each other even before we knew it. We were like, oh, it'd be awesome if we fended off like Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh wait, now he was with you at WonderCon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
And
still besties then?
And that was the joke.
Yeah,
That we were
all
going to
right.
go afterwards because we played up that joke so much. We're like, well, let's go to WonderCon as Sabretooth and Wolverine because that'd be hilarious.
And you guys did. That was
Let's do that.
It was great costumes too, by the way.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
So actually, one of my other favorite moments was obviously the Joshua Ivan battle.
Right.
You know, 'cause
right.
we joked about that a lot on the show. It's like, oh, it'd be awesome if we fended off like Obi-Wan and Anakin or like Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because we felt really fun about it, and we. It was kind of like a peer association, like, I'd love to go toe-to-toe with you.
Sure.
And then it happened.
Yeah.
And then we didn't expect it, but then it happened.
It came down to it.
And so it was such a great build to see that all happen. And I say it, and I'll still say it to this day, I would have been happy to go home by Joshua.
Yeah.
It would have been fine by me. It was nice that it wasn't me, but would have easily had done back and forth what it had been. But then, of course, we went to WonderCon to play up that joke.
Yeah.
Cosplayed as Wolverine and Sabretooth.
And Sabretooth, right.
So yeah, so actually, so he sticks around. He's an LA local too.
Okay, that's cool.
So's Genevieve and Mujige and Virgil and John.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of kids in LA. Although John moved here from the South to go to school in LA. So he came in after the show.
Okay.
to be there.
So what was the least favorite?
Well, the least favorite was towards the end. I'd say actually the last days were the hardest because by that time we had been there for so long.
Because you guys were there just
so long, and actually by the time I was eliminated, I didn't even care. I was was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just ready to move on.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, this happened. It was a great experience. I loved it. But like a lot of the other people, they got time off. You know, as a kind of, because I was one of the final 4. It's like I was there.
you were there for the whole run because they got time and they all got to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
got to
That's
come
right.
back.
Yeah, if I remember.
So I
correctly,
didn't have any decompression time.
Yeah,
You know, it was just.
Okay.
Okay, and then it was fine because then we all got to be part of the voting process and then got to hang out. But like that final night, it's like I had been playing my game the way that I had wanted to, and I was on. Like I was just playing as hard as I could, the entire time, but then my dial was definitely turned down
Sure.
for those final couple days, mostly because of the exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to know how Genevieve was feeling. You
Yeah,
know, she
that's
probably
true.
was not only exhausted, but also dealing with the pressure of like having to get that last little bit going, you know? So yeah, that was
that was the least favorite.
but otherwise the entire experience,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
So talking about, you guys were there basically on lockdown unless you got to go out. So is that why? Because it looks like things got pretty emotionally charged. I mean, there's a lot of crying on that show.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, just because it was like, was it such a pressure cooker?
It was, every reality show is a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Because that's what the point is.
Right.
Is to create the pressure
Yeah.
cooker. Now, how everyone deals with stress differently, and that's the deal, is that everyone handled themselves in their own way.
Sure.
And so, given any situation in which you're in a stressful environment over the course of several weeks and dealing with things 100% outside of your comfort zone, everyone's going to react differently to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I would say that out of everything, I felt the most comfortable. I was in my element. I have been in places where I've just had to fend for myself and just meet people. My mother used to teach in Alaska all the time, and I'd meet 10 or 15 new people a day, you know, as part of her profession. And I have to get to know them, and I have to be part of them. They're my mother's clients, so I have to like be friendly.
Yeah.
And I just got really good at interacting, you know, and on a consistent basis as well too.
Yeah.
Nerds tend to sometimes have a hard time with
Dealing with other people, yeah.
Other people. That's why they go and find solace in the people who understand them.
Yeah.
And that was the good thing, is that we all, in one way or another, totally understood each other.
Well, sure. I mean, even though it's we're all geeks / nerds. I mean, but there's always like that safe harbor in your comfort zone for,
and the things that you love,
comic books,
and the things that you do. There's always something to talk about, and
Right.
there's always something to be passionate about.
Yeah.
Which to this day, I still say, everyone is always like, "Oh, what's the definition of a nerd?" It's like, a nerd is just someone who's overeducated and passionate about their
something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a step above fanatic.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you want to be a nerd about bass fishing,
Sure.
go.
Yeah.
Go tell me about every single lure that you have in your box right now. That's no different than someone who's got a box full of minis.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right. So on the topic of minis, let's a good segue. Let's so we can get we'll wrap it up because we got gamers waiting back there.
Yeah, we're running a demo for Outbreak right
so
now.
that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Tell me about, we're talking about minis. Let's talk about your zombie role-playing game,
Sure.
Outbreak Undead. So give everybody the premise for it, how you came up with it.
Yeah, it was interesting because me and a couple of guys from college, like everyone always talked about their zombie survival plan.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
So that was a cool, unique thing that we all talked about, and everyone in our class was as well too. Now, my friend, Krista LaRosa, is an amazing writer, and essentially just came up with this idea for this role-playing game based on us all talking about our zombie survival plan.
Based on the plans.
And just for kicks, we said, hey, let's make a zombie game, let's run it, let's test our zombie survival plan.
Let's flesh it out, so to speak.
Let's flesh it out. But then at some point, we all realized, this is really good.
Yeah.
No one's done this. Let's actually make it.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the day it actually took off is the day that we signed up for Gen Con, and we're like, yes, we are going to Gen Con, and we are premiering this book in August of 2010. We had 1,000 books waiting for the day Gen Con happened.
Yeah.
And we sold. And we had the marketing fellowship, and we all basically worked our butts off in our spare time to make this book happen, and as a result form the company around it, which now makes role-playing games.
All right, that's great. That's great. And so you've got some expansions out for it now?
Yeah, we got expansion. We have a module for it called Deep Space, which is this sci-fi plug-in for Outbreak Undead.
All right.
Allows you to run like the dead. Well, first of all, Outbreak Undead allows you to run any type of zombie apocalypse scenario under any circumstances you want, with any type of zombies that you want, to the degree of realism that you can actually play yourself as a character.
Nice.
So you go and you go to our website, take a 40-question personality test, and once you're done with it, it'll actually pop out your core stats if you were to play yourself as a character. So we're all basically squishy zombie meat.
Right.
That's what we're all
That's
doing.
Great. So we can actually roll ourselves as characters.
Roll ourselves as characters.
And we can do this at your webpage, which is outbreakundead.com. All right. So
and you go there, and then you can actually test your zombie survival plan, because logically, all plans fail unless they're tested.
yeah, that's true.
It's true.
That's true.
So that's why we like to say your zombie survival plan will fail.
Will fail.
Because
unless you
nobody's
prove
tested
it.
Unless you prove it. Do it. Make it
All right,
happen.
Ivan, thanks so much.
George,
it's great to
pleasure.
meet you again.
Awesome, yeah.
And have you up at the shop, and I hope we can get together again sometime in the future, maybe when you guys have another expansion on
Sure. And
Outbreak.
we actually have 3 new games that we're coming out with all next year as well, too. Like, we're just keeping it moving, man.
I like it.
We
I
love
like it.
this. Making games is the most satisfying thing on the planet.
Slicers, go. OutbreakUndead.com, check it out. Get his game.
We'll see you online.
All right.